to another interview with el Vocero Hispano. Mobile GR is a department within the city of Grand Rapids that works to provide safe, reliable, affordable, and diverse transportation options around town. The department is currently working on some plans and doing a little bit of changes and looking to expand more options for different communities, especially the diverse, like Burton Heights. To speak about this, I have Erin Evenhouse and Ariana Jeske from Mobile GR to speak about all of the cool different things that they're planning, and I'm super excited about it. So thank you for being here and thank you for your time.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, so I know that Mobile GR, it sounds like a lot. Like there's a lot of different stuff that go through it because it involves transportation. So a lot of people probably think that it's just driving or just the signs or traffic lights. But specifically, what do you guys kind of work with
So
for those that don't know?
Yeah, there's two major components to Mobile GR. One is the parking arm that you would see, parking garages, all the on and off street parking. And so, while people don't like paying for parking, it does fund a lot of our other programs, which allows things that we do kind of on our side of the house, which is a lot of the traffic engineering, transportation safety, and then Erin actually supervises our mobility policy and planning. So kind of how we can introduce new ways to move people around. Kind of the traffic engineering is making sure that it's safe. We do a lot of more mundane things like maintain 40,000 signs over the city of Grand Rapids and all the traffic signals. So a lot of very cool, interesting stuff down to kind of literally watching paint dry on the road.
Yeah. So it is a lot. Yeah. And I've seen the scooters, the bikes, electric vehicles, the buses. So it all includes all that fun stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
What specifically is like free for the public?
So we have had the DASH, the Downtown Area Shuttle Service, since I believe the 1980s. There have been a couple different routes and configurations, but it was really developed to move commuters from cheap parking lots on the west side of the river to the east side and downtown. It has sort of evolved to be more focused on actually connecting people to destinations around downtown and the service itself. And it has been free to ride that entire time. Just last month, we relaunched a new DASH service, which consolidated the DASH North line and the DASH West line to one circulator that hits a number of destinations downtown. That is free to ride. It is 7 days a week. It runs late nights on weekends, and we definitely encourage people to check it out and take it around town.
Yes, I think a lot of people have used it for art prize and kind of to just get around downtown. So I think it's a super cool and affordable way to get around town.
Absolutely.
I also wanted to talk about the electric vehicles because I know we've seen little cars riding around downtown. Where did that idea come from, or how did that, when did it begin?
Yeah, so a couple of fronts on that. One is there was a AVGR pilot, which was a partnership with May Mobility to test autonomous vehicles in the downtown. So that took, I believe it was on-demand rides at one point, and at one point it followed the Dash West route. But it was again, free ride service that people could take sort of within the designated area. And it helped us in sort of a new partnership to learn more about how people respond to this type of technology, if they're willing to take it. And we learned a lot from it. It ultimately was not, didn't have a sustainable business model, and we didn't feel that it was worthwhile for the city to invest in it in the long term. But it was a good pilot program. Okay. More recently, we've been having conversations about developing a EV car share service. So this would include non-autonomous but electric vehicles that would be located both in the downtown and in neighborhoods around town, including Burton Heights, the MLK neighborhood, by Rapid Central Station, so someplace that anyone who's riding the bus can reach. As well as locations downtown. We're hoping to launch that at the end of this year. We're currently in a frenzied kind of dash to the finish line effort to apply for a federal grant to build out a larger EV charging network that would also support that car share service, and that would grow next year into the following year.
Okay. Speaking about that, what kind of impacts could it have on the community? Especially, you mentioned different neighborhoods of Burton Heights, the MLK. What kind of like positive impacts would that have for those people living in that area?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Really at the core of what we do and what my team at Mobility Planning and Policy focuses on is how can we sort of improve and expand low-cost options so that people have more ways of getting around without having to own their own car. So that includes the Dash service, our work with Lime and micromobility, supporting our transit agency to have improved infrastructure at its stops. And we really see car share as another kind of piece of that pie that can make it easier for people who don't own a car, or maybe they're in a one-car household and have a family and are, would need to buy two otherwise, to have those additional options and have like a full suite of things to choose from to be able to get around.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea and a great like upcoming opportunity for a lot of people, because just from my background and just living in that area, I know that a lot of people struggle with rides, getting to their appointments or grocery shopping, that kind of stuff. So I applaud you guys. I know that you said you're running to the finish line, but I think it's a great effort that it has started and it's there. So
Thank you.
There's as far as kind of fulfilling our core mission of mobility and different options and making sure that that's equitably distributed across the city. One of the cool things I think, because we're doing electric vehicle, is that when you go to electric vehicle, it's still part of our power system, which is making that transition to cleaner fuels, but we're taking ground level emissions off of the street. We're putting them in a power plant where they're highly regulated and permitted and all this other stuff. And so it's something that's the more we can kind of show the community and just everybody how like electric vehicles have all these other benefits to them too, that there's a nice health benefit that starts to kind of build in that moment.
yeah. We were just talking before the interview started about a funding that you guys applied for, and kind of what would be the changes that we would see around town with that funding if it was approved?
Yeah, so the funding that we're applying for is specifically for charging and fueling infrastructure. So we're going to be developing, just out of the city's own pocket, a couple more stations, because we don't want to wait. We want to get this program going and on the ground and pick a couple strategic sites to launch a small-scale car share service. What this will allow us to do is have a larger network of EV chargers, several of which could go towards an expanded level of car share service, and also that can just serve the networks and neighborhoods in downtown. If you look at a map right now of where there's EV chargers in the city of Grand Rapids, there's a bunch of little points downtown, and there's a couple sort of at the far edges, and that's it. And we know that, in large part, affordability is a tremendous barrier to being able to sort of expand our, network of EVs. But it's also sort of a chicken and egg thing, where if there's no infrastructure around, then people don't feel comfortable with it. So this is also a way to kind of remove one of those barriers while we wait for hopefully cheap EV cars to come around before too long.
Yeah, and I think it's like we mentioned about the upcoming changes that we might see around with the car share and everything. Having these changes already happening, I think it's just leading to like the positivity and what we can expect with the car share. So I applaud you guys for that too.
Thank you.
We have met before at the Burton Heights Business Association meetings, and we've heard a lot of business owners talk about their concerns with safety, the speeding. We know a lot of businesses have been impacted because of cars crashing into their buildings. So their number one concern has been safety and speed. How has Mobile GR kind of worked or helped around with assisting with that?
Yeah, so it's something that actually there's the project that's going on right now. Hopefully it's done and everybody will be happy to see the signs go away. But it's something that when that project is designed, we look at ways that we can improve pedestrians' safety, say by just the way that we can redesign our curbs so you have less distance to cross. And it's kind of that as we reconstruct our roads and kind of build them back up. But a lot of it too is that when we consider safety, we always try to think about who's the most vulnerable in our system. And so one of the things is that pedestrians and cyclists, they don't have the benefit, or they don't have a metal cage around them. So it's something that when we look at where we can invest our dollars in, so we're adding several pedestrian hybrid beacons, which if you've ever been down to DeVos Place right in front of City Hall, basically it's a stoplight that you as a pedestrian get to push the button and it makes the car stop so that you can walk across. So there's one of those going in a division at Andre that should be coming hopefully in this next year. And we've also just put in some more grant applications for safety money specifically to add your rectangular flashing beacons. They don't stop traffic, but they give an increased presence, let drivers know that there's a pedestrian there. So when we think about where we want to invest our kind of our pedestrian safety dollars, we do look at these corridors that historically have the high volumes and high speeds. And that's where we want to put it because that's where it has the greatest impact. So there'll be stuff coming, as we look here in the future.
Yeah, I think that's really exciting. Yeah, sorry. You go
Oh, I was just gonna add to that, and my colleague who also works under Ariana, who leads this effort, has put it a couple different ways. But the way that I think about it is like our roads by default have been built for cars, and by default that's our entire city and transportation network. So it's all a matter of how do we change and retrofit and readjust and add and adapt to make an environment that works for people once they get out of their car, people who are walking and people who are biking. And we're a lean team up against a big system, but that's the work that we're making hard choices about and focused on funding and building out every day.
Yeah, and I know there always has to be like agreements that come with that, and like approval. That's the correct word, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's something that we're able to kind of represent the city and specifically mobility and vulnerable road users kind of on these different efforts. The Grand Valley Metro Council, which is our big planning organization, is starting a really large, it's a Safe Streets for All, it's a federal grant, so it's going to be a comprehensive safety plan for the region. So we have seats on that, so we have little voices at the table. I was mentioning earlier a meeting with MDOT talking about how they're redeveloping 131, which you would think wouldn't really have a huge pedestrian and bicycle impact, but if we can kind of look at how we're making some of those connections again that maybe were kind of severed back in the 60s when they built the road, we can create better networks and perhaps get some of the traffic off of Division, some of it off of Chavez and whatnot. So it's kind of where we're trying to bring that perspective to a lot of places where it hasn't been.
Yeah.
When people think about a freeway and redesigning it at MDOT, they don't really think about how that's going to affect somebody's neighborhood.
Yeah. I think there's a lot to think about, a lot of that background stuff that we don't really think about. But I think those are good ideas. And it's just more to get, not just to get traffic to a different area, but for those people to kind of get to know what's around them too. I think we kind of just stay in that one common place that we're used to, and we don't really want to step out. So I think that's pretty cool to kind of get them to know what's around them and all of that stuff. So I think that's cool. About the beacons, the light from downtown, I think that's super cool as well. Do you guys plan on having them added to different locations, or is it just for right now, Division and Andre Street?
That's the first one that'll be going down on Division. We have kind of a package. We've been doing it for the past couple years where we'll apply for safety funding, and we're trying to get them I would say sprinkled around the city, but it's definitely where we look. We have neighborhoods of focus, which are census tracts that have been historically underinvested in the city of Grand Rapids, and so that's where we look to kind of our first round of improvements, and because we know it's going to make a big impact in those areas, so we kind of have packages of them that we do and kind of sprinkle across the city. So you won't see like this massive, huge kind of shiny new corridor on Division right now, but it's something that we're kind of filling in where we see the greatest needs.
It's coming.
Coming attractions, yes.
How can the community support or help out to make some changes for their neighborhoods that they're located in?
So I think the big thing is just being able to participation. We are accessible, and you can have concerns. You can talk to us. We do have traffic calming programs specifically kind of for our neighborhood streets where people can call and start a process where we look at the data, and then actually we're moving to kind of tweaking that program to make it more data driven. But there are options. So if you reach out, we have a lot of different opportunities that we can help connect people with our mobility options, like the micro mobility. As we move into the car share, we have the ability to help and connect. So we're there. We have a wonderful person who does a lot of our social media, who is very witty and good. So we get a lot of feedback that way, and we're always a phone call or 311 away. So.
Yeah. Yep, you mentioned your Facebook and social media. Yes, I have seen it. I follow the page and amazing. I like it a lot. For those that don't really know how to get in contact with Mobile GR, we do have their phone number, which is 616-456-3000 or 311, which is easier to remember. And on Facebook, like I mentioned, it's GR Transportation. If you search it up just like that, they should pop up. And their website, which is grandrapidsmi.gov. Just to get to know more of the resources and get to know the department, what specifically you all do. Is there anything else that you guys would like to mention or something I missed out on?
Yeah, well, just to your last question,
Yeah.
I just wanted to add, for anyone looking to do something for their community, anytime that you're in a car and driving in your community, like, you are the most important safety tool that's there. So following the speed limit, paying attention, being careful, it's both your car and like all of the vehicles who are behind you, can be impacted by that. So I would say, just practicing good safety practices in your everyday.
Yeah, that's a good point. Just because I've mentioned the division corridor all the time because I'm really close around it. I have seen the speeding and everything, and I think the main thing is that it's a distraction and wanting to speed and all of that. But yes, I agree with you. They should be more aware of their surroundings, and if something happens to you, it's going to probably impact the person behind you or around you. So that's a good point. So thank you for saying that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here. It was great to know what you guys are doing, the behind the scenes, and not just the signs or the traffic lights. So thank you for your time and for being here and letting the community know more of what's going on in their community.
Absolutely. Pleasure.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, their Facebook page is GR Transportation. They do upload amazing posts all the time, especially updates if there's festivals downtown and all of that. If you don't know where to go or if there's going to be a road closed, you can go on that Facebook page and you will be informed right away. You can also call 311, which is the easier number, just for any information or details, and their website, which is grandrapidsmi.gov. For more interviews in English and Spanish, you can visit El Vocero Hispano on Facebook and our YouTube page, El Vocero Hispano TV. We also have our website, which is elvocerous.com.